Honestly, the first part's the tutorial.
Yeah.
So
and you got to do the tutorial so that you get the honeycombs.
Yeah. Right.
It's brutal.
I've played this game more recently, so I feel like you should probably start.
This is one of the games that I can confidently 100% without having to look anything up.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely not that level.
Mm-hmm.
I actually never played Banjo-Kazooie until it came out on the Xbox Live Arcade.
There's something very nostalgic about that XBLA logo.
Right?
Like, remember that weird time? Do you remember the summer of arcade when they were just like shoveling just horse shit, just like
a bunch of like terrible games,
but like
all at once,
thousands. Like, it was insanity.
It was like just trying a bunch of stuff,
mm-hmm.
and then like maybe some of it'll work.
Throwing a bunch of horrendously ugly spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks.
And some of it did.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of the XBLA stuff that came out during that is still like there were a lot of ports and stuff like that. So.
And I'm totally fine with ports.
I do like the Nintendo version of this game a lot, though.
Yeah.
Like the N64 controller is not good for a lot, but it was very good for this.
Yeah. Fun fact, I bought Banjo-Kazooie for the N64 at the same time I bought an NES copy of Zelda 2 at a pawn shop, and the guy said it would be $100, and I said, maybe I'll just go then. And he said, all right, I'll knock 30 off for you. And that's the story about how I accidentally haggled the guy.
Haha, that's awesome. All right. Yeah, it's looking like, what the hell? I think I must have New Game Plus at least one of these.
Banjo-Kazooie has a New Game Plus?
By that I mean just wiped the file and started over again.
Gotcha.
Whatever, we're gonna go to the kitchen. First off,
Kitchen Banjo?
I guess in introduction, it's me, Scott. It's your boy. And I'm sitting with my good friend Benjamin for the first guest show that we've done in a while.
Hi, I'm new.
It's Ben.
Name's Ben.
He doesn't have a YouTube channel, but he's now on this one.
Cool.
Big shrugs. All right, so we're playing Banjo-Kazooie because you recently played it and your girlfriend...
My girlfriend recently played it. And when you were like, hey, come over and do a Let's Play, I was like, yeah, sure, what game are we going to play? And you were like,
We'll figure it out.
And my girlfriend said, you guys should play Banjo.
And here we are.
So here we are.
Because we're men of our own volition, but also we're very passive characters.
Right now I have a beard and a ponytail. I am not in control of my life right now.
That's true.
It is entirely up to my girlfriend.
That's a fun fact. And, I mean, I'm still currently looking a little bit like an extra from The Warriors. So that's just my life.
I can see it.
Yeah, I'm going to slap a picture of one of the characters from The Warriors into the video right now just to give context to what people should be expecting from me.
Yeah, like, hey, listen, not a bad look.
Mm-hmm. I do what I can. All right, so, I mean, I've espoused this on the channel before. Banjo-Kazooie is one of the first games I owned. I think it might be the first game I owned. It's also one of the first games I properly 100%ed, and it was the first game that really sort of harkened into my heart the desire to become a completionist. These collectathons really broke me as a child. And I know your completionism is almost like a sickness.
I 100%ed Breath of the Wild, all the Koroks, all the shrines, everything, in about a week after the game came out.
Yeah. And also, you were one of the first people that I knew beyond me and the charity team that got all of the moons in Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, I banged that out in about 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
But Banjo-Kazooie, though, I never had it on the N64. My buddy did. And there was one part, part of my school life where I was sick for about a week. And so he lent me, a bunch of N64 games. And
It's
it was
a good friend to have.
Yeah, totally. It was Banjo-Kazooie and, Donkey Kong 64. And that was my first experience with Banjo-Kazooie. But I had so many games on the go at once that, none of them stuck.
Oh, yeah.
And Banjo-Kazooie is actually the only one that I went back and beat. And I did beat it 100%, but I did so on the Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah. It's more accessible this way. A lot of people are purists, and I get it, but, I can run an HDMI cable out of my Xbox and play Banjo literally anytime I want. I have to get, adapters and shit to make my Nintendo 64 communicate with the rest of my gear.
Yeah. I mean, I just plug my N64 straight into... I have an old garbage TV
in
my room.
Big tube?
No, not a big tube. I had a big tube, but I donated that to the Super Smash Bros. Melee community.
There you go. He's a man of the people.
Man of the people.
Man, the plot for this game was, the most innocuous. It's just like big ugly witch want not be ugly, kidnap young cute bear, turn self into pretty.
I really like how it just kind of feels like you're just sort of like dropped into it.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
all these characters have existing relationships. You're not really given any information on any of them outside of what you see here.
And like how they are willing to interact with each other. Like Kazooie's literally always snarky. Banjo's kind of lethargic but good-hearted.
Yeah.
And Bottles is just like constantly getting dunked on.
And like why like what is the nature of Banjo and Kazooie's relationship?
Yeah, what is this? And also, why do they have a small cabin that's directly next door to a witch's castle if they don't expect to be harassed by witches?
Yeah. I mean, that also.
There's some good points to be made. Here's our protagonists. Listen up, it's Bottles, the short-sighted mole.
I love Bottles.
So good.
Fun fact, did you know there is a Game Boy Advance Banjo-Kazooie game?
I did know that, actually. Yeah, it's one of those weird ones that's sort of like one of those old Spyro games where it's
kind of
very isometric, yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
I learned about that like literally the other day.
Nice.
Apparently still better than Nuts and Bolts.
See, Nuts and Bolts, I think the problem with it is that it's a fine game. Like, it plays fine. Game is okay.
The problem with it is the Banjo-Kazooie game.
Exactly. If they had slapped a different cute character in and not, like, tried to sell copies based on the fact that they put the names Banjo and Kazooie onto the thing, I think people would... It would be
more acceptable as a game.
It would be at least just forgettable. It wouldn't be like...
It wouldn't be like the scourge of the earth.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Especially when you just have that, and then you're just like, oh, I guess Banjo-Kazooie's done.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, honestly, another big problem with it is that it's got, in my opinion, some really strong redesigns of the characters. Like, the art style that they went with for Nuts and Bolts.
It's a little blocky for my taste, but I definitely get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of makes sense. Like, the progression of the character type. Like, I think Gruntilda has never looked better than she did in Nuts and Bolts.
I can agree with that.
And
it's mostly Banjo that I'm not a huge fan of.
Yeah, I feel like, because he almost looked like, you remember that antique Banjo 3 trailer that we got? It was like a teaser, like, almost a decade ago now, I think.
Like the Banjo 3, like...
It was like Banjo and Kazooie in like a hand-drawn little house, and they open the door and they look at Spiral Mountain, and there's Jiggies and shit.
Yeah, I remember that.
That version of Banjo, that's halfway between Banjo-Tooie and Nuts and Bolts Banjo, he's kind of got like the elongated, sort of almost square snout, and he's a little bit furrier, but it's not quite to the
extreme
geometric extremes. Yeah, exactly. That is the best version of Banjo, in my opinion.
I think I can fully agree with that. If they like did a remake or like a proper Banjo 3,
yeah, if they like insane trilogied Banjo 1 and 2 with that character redesign, that would be super good.
Yeah, I'd be super into that.
Right. Doing tutorial.
I mean, that means you don't have any of your moves yet.
I know.
That's the downside of doing the tutorial is you actually have to get them all back.
Oh my god.
Say no.
And you have to like... And if you say no, you don't get the freaking extra honeycomb.
You don't get the honeycomb.
It's so heartbreaking.
But there's extra honeycombs in the game for you to get.
Yeah, this just makes it easy.
Yeah.
This is the exciting part of the game where I punch carrots. You know, like a bear would.
Bears eat carrots. This is just facts.
There it is. What a hit. I don't think I've ever used that move in the entirety of the game.
Like, this tutorial might as well just be the one where you jump and Kazooie comes out of your backpack and goes bark, bark, bark.
Or like the roll attack and that.
Yeah, the roll attack, I guess. I never used the roll attack even.
Oh, really?
It's almost exclusively the bark, bark, bark.
That one's really good for traversal, too. Like, you can use that to sort of, like, expedite. If you're trying to shave those minutes off your speedrun.
Yeah, and then there's, like, when the things come out of the wall, it just, like, you just kill them. Like, you just, like, you're moving forward still.
When you're, like, sidling or whatever. Yeah.
Like, you're still moving forward, but, like, you have a beak in front of you that's doing damage to anything.
Wahoo! Wahoo! Come on, man.
There you go.
You animal. Alright, the buzzard to learn a trick.
It's this move, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, this is the one. The rat-a-tat.
The rat-a-tat, yeah.
It's so good. And the naming convention for stuff in old rare, like, antique rare naming conventions cannot be beat.
There's so much charm to it.
Yeah. And, I mean, here's an unpopular opinion. Ukulele.
Go on.
Unpopular. Anyways, the whole thing where we all used to make jokes about this, like, Banjo and Kazooie, and like how everything in this game, it's just like slap some googly eyes on it and you got a character. Like, literally everything in Banjo-Kazooie. Less so in this game, but that's sort of where the joke came from, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then in in Ukulele, Platonic did that thing where they
just sort of did it.
Well, there's a villain in the game that's literally a pair of googly eyes that jumps onto random inanimate objects.
Which I think, honestly, like, for the joke, is a very good enemy.
For the bit, I like it, but...
As an enemy...
It sucked.
It sucked.
Yeah. What do moles know about jumping? So snarky.
Yeah. She's just a jerk.
Woohoo! I did it. Yeah, this is, it was this and Super Mario 64 were kind of like the seminal games that got me on the...
This game's just so much, like, better than Super Mario 64, though. Like, I like how the movement works in Super Mario 64 better, and I like that it's a little bit more momentum-based. I think you're supposed to double jump.
Oh, yeah,
there you go.
I was trying to figure out which jump I was being pinned into place to do at this point.
Yeah. But, like, the movement and the momentum of Super Mario 64 I really like, but just, like, I was playing Super Mario 64 at the same time my girlfriend was playing Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like, just visually, like, this is just a better game.
See, now that is, I would caution to say that is uncommon that comparison would be made like that, but I mean, I love them both so equally.
Yeah,
like, I've spent so much time with these
I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on Super Mario 64 because, like, holy crap, that game's amazing, and it's like, how did you get it so right on your first try?
Also, I mean, the biggest enemy of all in Super Mario 64 is, of course, as we all know, the camera.
Yes.
The camera in this game works. They figured out how to make it work. With these, every now and then you've got a fixed camera angle, like right there where the camera sort of shifted up into the right, so that it was like, you know.
You do have to fight it a little bit more in Super Mario 64.
Yeah, and it will fight you back.
It's not going to pull its punches either.
Yeah.
Still a very good game. I think Banjo did it better. Banjo came later, so it makes sense that would be the case.
Also, are you, as far as Banjo is concerned in general, are you overly familiar with the prospect of the stop and swap?
Yes.
I cannot believe that it took until all of these games were available on the Xbox digital store for the stop and swap to finally actually be realized.
Yeah.
It's pretty goofy.
It's such a cool idea though. Like the whole like you have the Banjo-Kazooie in, and then like you have to like pull the cartridge out and put Banjo-Tooie in before it runs out.
The data gets temporarily stored on the console. Yeah.
And then like as they got better at making N64s, like that window that you had to switch the games became smaller and smaller, which is why they ended up cutting it.
Yep. And I mean, even now it's like playing Banjo. I started playing Banjo-Tooie a little bit ago because I've 100%ed Banjo a couple of dozen times. But I have not done Tooie since, I played it originally on the cart.
Yeah.
And it's got this, I mean, there's this whole thing in the game where you're interacting with this character named, I think, Peggy or Peggy?
I've never played Banjo-Tooie.
There's like this fat chicken that you meet, and Banjo-Tooie's big thing, like the big extra thing that it brought to the table, was the fact that you could split the two characters. You can...
Yeah. I know a little bit about it.
Yeah, but like there's this whole thing where Kazooie gets all of these like bird-specific attacks, right?
Yeah.
And one of them, it's not really an attack. It's she can hatch eggs. If you're playing as just her,
hatch egg?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So if you find an egg and you do this one special input, you can hatch it and get things, and you can like sit on a sick animal and do the hatch thing, and your matronly powers will bring it back to life or whatever. Like,
which is funny because Kazooie is probably the least matronly character in Banjo-Kazooie.
Exactly. Is a little bit like old-fashioned traditionalist.
I think you gotta be told how to do it first.
I think so. I think I gotta talk to this one. But you can't move the camera. Oh no, that's camera.
There's no honeycombs from moving the camera.
God damn it. But yeah, like Rare was kind of playing into some very aggressively stupid traditional gender roles, despite the fact that they wrote such interesting characters to begin with. So what are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
But Kazooie had this thing with Peggy, the chicken or the hen or whatever, where if you found stop and swap eggs, which were always was always a stop and swap egg, you would bring it to Peggy, and either you would hatch it or Kazooie would hatch it. And then in the Xbox 360 version, or I mean Xbox One, whatever, in the Xbox version, instead of like it being like, now quickly switch the cartridges and you get the stop and swap, it's like, you unlocked a game or picture.
Yeah,
it's stupid shit like that.
It's pretty anticlimactic after all of the hype for stop and swap.
But that is one thing that I think Nuts and Bolts kind of nailed. which is not a
It
lot of
also
things.
uses a stop and swap, doesn't it?
It uses stop and swap specifically for the XBLA versions of these games,
Mm-hmm.
and you are able to... Come on, where's that?
I wouldn't expect it to use stop and swap for the N64 versions. That would be incredible.
But I mean, like, a specifically, like, modified version of the stop and swap that came in as a result of this all.
Yeah.
And it's you, if you get a stop and swap egg in either of these games, and then you open up the Xbox menu and switch, like, from here to nuts and bolts.
Oh, that's...
You get a free item, like a special stop and swap
Yeah.
item crate that gives you super, super rare loot for...
I like that they still kept the, like, swap
Yeah.
part of the stop and swap.
It's pretty cool. I think they found an interesting way of bringing it into the game, you know?
Yeah. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Man, do you know the whole backstory of how Banjo-Kazooie came to be?
It was a different game before. It was like, what was it?
It was
called?
originally some...
Dream something?
Dream something, yeah.
Like it was like an RPG, I feel like almost.
Yeah, it kind of had like early JRPG vibes to it.
Yeah.
Like think the art style of what's the Isaac
Golden Sun.
Golden Sun.
Yeah.
Very Golden Sun-esque looking
Yeah,
game.
I've seen pictures.
But then they were just like trying to figure out how to make people want to play it and what to do, and they were having all these problems because it was one of those isometric games.
Yeah.
And they were like, man, this sucks. And then they thought of
Let's just make the main character a bear.
They thought of a bear, yeah. Oh, Tootie, you're never going to be as memorable as Coco from Crash Bandicoot.
One thing that I don't like that Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong 64 does this too, which makes me think it's a rare thing. Whenever you save and quit, it shows a game over like cutscene.
Yeah, like the heartbreaking...
It's like, come on, I didn't lose. I just need to go eat lunch.
You gave up.
I know, right? I'm not gonna beat Banjo-Kazooie in one sitting.
Oh, aren't we?
I mean, maybe. I got time. I work till 1:30 tomorrow.
Hey, there you go. That's a man with a plan.
It's a fucking bear! No! Oh shit, it's right there.